In September 2008, Sebastian Vettel became the youngest driver to win a Formula One Grand Prix after an assured performance in challenging conditions at Monza that earned Toro Rosso its first and so far only victory. In fact, he was starting to look at home.
You could see him having a laugh with his team and his engineers. You could see that he was definitely determined to engage with what was happening to him. He wanted to be there and involve himself in every aspect of F1 and being a race driver. It wasn't just like some other drivers, turn up, get in the car, drive fast, go home. That's the very opposite of Vettel's approach.
Just 21 years old, Vettel and his career were on a steep upward trajectory, with seemingly no obstacle too big to overcome.
I had a very good insight into Sebastian's personality when, in 2008, we climbed Mount Fuji together. He said, I'll tell you what, let's climb it, but I'll only climb it if we can climb it at night, just to give it that extra twist. And so I commandeered Alex Wurz, a bit of a mountain goat, to come with us. And Sebastian raced in the Japanese Grand Prix, finished 6th, I think. We then had dinner together at 11 o'clock and then started climbing at 1 a.m. So then you see Sebastian's comradeship, competitiveness. He was desperate to be the first guy at the top. But Seb was the guy in particular who always looked out for me. And then we get to the top, we make it 4,000 meters, and he then peers over the edge of the summit, which is absolutely vertical for about 200 meters with that loose scree that you get at the top of a mountain. He just looked at me and said, I'm going down here. And this is the impetuousness. This is the guy who is last man on the brakes going into turn 1 at Monza. He just jumped off the edge of this mountain. And I see him skiing the scree down. Eventually stops 200 meters below me. I can just about make him out. Come on, Tom, come down, come down. Ah. So I had to go too, and Alex Wurz goes too as well. And we all just sort of make our way down, but just brave, impetuous, you know, mad.
The following year, Vettel joined Toro Rosso's stablemate, Red Bull Racing, another big challenge he appeared to take in his stride.
It's pretty intimidating to walk into a factory where there are hundreds of people. At the end of the day, you're only a link in the chain, but you're the final link. There's data galore and loads of clever young people who can come up to you with sheets of paper going, you're losing 500ths of a second under braking. There's nowhere to hide. Some drivers use that spotlight as energy and rise up. Others, it just wilts them. You need then to have a strong head to go with your speed. Speed alone is not enough.
Sebastian has the team round him now because, in a lot of ways, that's what he deserves. The team don't suddenly turn up and just go round a brand new driver. You've got to earn that right, and that's what Sebastian's done.
I think it all came together for Seb in '09 in that Mark Webber had already been at the team for 2 years, but then Mark then breaks his leg in a cycling accident. Spends the next year really battling to regain his fitness. That immediately gave Sebastian a bit of an in, particularly during winter testing as he was starting to get used to the car. You know, he was the perfect racing driver for that team. Right time, right place, right character.
Since delivering Red Bull Racing's first Grand Prix victory in Shanghai in 2009, Vettel has notched another 38 race wins. The following season, he secured his team's first Drivers' and Constructors' Championship double, the first of 4 such titles in an era-defining tour de force.
Now he can race from behind people, he can race from the front. He doesn't spin very often, he doesn't make mistakes. You know, he's a pretty complete package.
Over 1 lap, he is unbeatable. On a Saturday afternoon, doesn't matter the conditions, doesn't matter the circuit, it would take a very brave person to bet against Sebastian.
The other guys, they just overdo it. They say, okay, oh, Rouge in Spa, let's gonna do it. Wang, bong, bang, boom. Sebastian, he's just going to the limit, never over the limit.
The other killer playing card Seb uses often is his ability just to steam away from the pack in the first 2 laps. He'll just go hammer and tongs on the first lap. When other drivers are maybe a little bit wary of feeling the grip in their tyres, he gets himself 2 or 3 seconds ahead after 2 laps, and he controls the race to perfect effect.
Running parallel to Vettel's day-to-day responsibilities on the track is an ongoing commitment to the team's major partner on the road. As Director of Performance for Infinity, Vettel brings a near-forensic focus to bear on the development and testing of new ideas and prototypes.
If you hit the brakes with very light application, there seems to be a big bite.
There are no punches pulled, and in meetings with engineers, feedback is frank and fearless.
Over the bumps in terms of suspension, it felt that the car was very soft. And then I think that entering the corner feels nicer than being in the corner and then reacting. So I think you need to work on that area a little bit more. It's most enjoyable when it's about performance, which is the idea of the job, driving the cars outside, testing them hard. You know, that's what I do in my job, try to push the car to the limit and then see what can be improved in terms of car feel, car setup, car handling. That's what I've been doing and what I enjoy most as well.
Also providing assistance is Infinity Red Bull Racing's reserve driver, Sebastian Vettel, a former rival of Vettel's, who appreciates better than most the insights his teammate offers.
I know him since we were more or less 13 years old. I think Sebastian is really good because he can communicate and explain well what he basically thinks of the car and what he needs to get better. The engineers, they should not have to guess.
The current assignment is to compare the performance of other manufacturers' vehicles with Infinity's own, in what proves an enlightening experience for the company's project engineers.
It's very interesting to be next to them in the car. You're also trying to control your fear because you don't see much and things are coming in very quickly.
This is better cornering, this car.
I was actually surprised by how cool they are and how relaxed they are while giving you the feedback.
The steering is too lazy in the beginning.
As a normal driver, I was almost in panic looking at the speed we were going into that turn.
Well, I think having Sebastian as a director of performance is a great asset to Infinity. His natural ability behind the steering wheel goes without question.
They lose a lot of braking performance.
He's very analytical, he enjoys driving all kinds of cars.
Because people don't dare to go straight to the max.
It's not a part of everyday driving.
No, not that.
I know he's taking this role very seriously and is enjoying giving his feedback.
Not all of Vettel's passengers are engineers. Ride and drive events with the press and public tend to produce more immediate, less measured reactions.
I could scare you.
Oh my God!
How fast are you going to take us?
How fast do you want to go? You want to drive?
Thank you. Thank you.
Just like a carnival ride. Yeah.
The new regulations introduced in 2014 are likely to provide a significant twist in the narrative of Formula One's technological development.
For 2014, we've got the biggest rule changes for 30 years.
We'll no longer have V8 normally aspirated engines. We'll have 1.5-litre turbocharged engines with energy recovery systems, much more in line with like hybrid systems that you see in road cars now.
In 2013, the drivers had 80 bhp for 6.3 seconds per lap with their KERS. In 2014, we've got ERS, energy recovery system, and they're going to get 160 brake horsepower for something like 33 seconds a lap. It's going to require the drivers to come up with a completely different way of driving.
The power delivery of the engines is going to be very, very different. There's going to be a lot more torque at the rear wheels. Managing that power delivery is going to be quite a lot of sensitivity from a driver. Sebastian will have to adapt his style. If, for any reason, he isn't able to adapt it as effectively as, say, Kimi Räikkönen, then he's got a big challenge on his hands, yeah.
Given the extensive rule changes in other areas too, the Formula One reset button has been well and truly pressed. Deprived of some of the technical advantages he's enjoyed in previous seasons, the defending champion could have his work cut out. But given his track record, his sheer verve and versatility when occasion demands, who would bet against him?
If we've got big rule changes that require the drivers to be adaptable, it's hard to see anyone adapting better than Sebastian Vettel.
The team, they have enough experience with Newey, Horner, Rocky and Sebastian. They're going to put it together. They're coming with a World Championship in the hand luggage. That gives you a lot of tailwind.
It doesn't matter if it's Adrian Newey, it doesn't matter if it's Pirelli tyres, Sebastian Vettel, it's how they all work together. It just seems to be the perfect fit. There's no reason that that's going to change in 2014.
When you go out to qualify and the visor comes down, whatever engine you got in the back, whatever rule changes have just been thrown upon you, suddenly it just becomes about getting the maximum out of your car.
He's only 26, he can actually break all the records in Formula One if he stays in, stays motivated and continues to have success. I think the only last remaining challenge for him is to become, if you like, a hero. Maybe come from behind in a championship and win it from behind, or win it in an inferior machine.
That's when he will be judged on his greatness. Then people will say, my goodness, he is an incredible driver.
Sebastian Vettel will be more appreciated later on than he is right now. Well, I know, because I've been around Formula One 30 years, that we're watching something very special here. Sebastian's rewritten the rules.